Hello there, Daryl Sloan. This is, of course, Nick Dutch. Love your video, What is Authentic Christianity? You mentioned some great key points. And yeah, Christianity basically, well, Protestantism definitely can't be traced back to the time of Jesus Christ. Catholicism also probably can't. You also mentioned some of the key players, including Constantine. Constantine was an interesting individual to the best of my knowledge, all I'm doing is talking off the top of my head with the things that I already know. It was Constantine who chose that the Old Testament would become part of Christianity as well as the New Testament. Nobody else, apparently. It was Constantine who decided that the Christian Sabbath would be on Sunday. And so it's his ideas which then spread through like the whole of Europe, through ministry and conquest, and God alone knows what else. So essentially, we have Constantine predominantly to blame for the structure of Christianity and some of the early attitudes that were a part of it. Of course, you got the Council of Nicaea, which came along and chose which books should be a part of Christianity. But of course, these days we can access a few of the other books thanks to the internet, including the Gospel of Thomas, which was excluded from the New Testament, possibly because it makes you actually sort of ask questions and think. And if you're going to have a massive dogmatic national structure to a religious ideology, you don't want people to think. So, no, there is no such thing as authentic Christianity. Never has been, and probably never will be. And even like straight after the time of Christ, there was, so from what I've seen on various documentaries, a lot of groups within the splinter movements from traditional Judaism that was the Christians of the time, and a great deal of disagreement going on there. So, as far as what happened during the first century, there probably wasn't any authentic Christianity then either. So, essentially, what we're left with is just people looking at texts and traditions and working out what they think seems to be right from that, which can either be as a result of their upbringing or what somebody else told them or one particular book which they seem to like. And yeah, it's going to be completely self-contradictory because that's basically, the nature of humanity. The term Christian doesn't actually mean anything. All right, it's a totally meaningless statement in basically every possible way. There are people who call themselves Christian who don't actually pay attention to the words of Jesus Christ. There are people who call themselves Christian, but instead they worship the Bible and not Jesus Christ. There are people who call themselves Christian who pay attention to certain writings in the Old Testament, which even the Jews don't agree with and don't follow, and yet they say, "Oh no, this is true and this is a fact and this is the word of God. Therefore, we've all got to obey it." Da 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 da. If you can go to one particular church and you would have like 1,000 different interpretations, often from the same individual. So, the term does not actually mean anything. There appear to be some key common factors, such as the existence of the Bible in Christian cultures, but people will just take whatever they see fit from this stuff, and they will apply it in whatever way they see fit. And it's often those who speak the loudest, who promote the most, who get their ideas accepted by the majority, which is bad. But unfortunately, that's also the way of the world, the way that media, communication, and all these things just seem to function. Okay? So, no, there isn't an authentic Christianity. And I think it's at some stage in one's development, one eventually sort of like thinks, okay, well, I might be believing something at the moment which might possibly be wrong. I might change my views with the passage of time. I might come closer to what is appropriate with the passage of time. But on the other hand, I might not. But on the other hand, am I really going to get all that stressed about it? You know what I mean? So you just don't worry about it. And you just sort of carry on growing, I suppose. And I can understand why anyone would have strong disagreements with Christianity and Christian culture because there are people who promote very aggressively that certain things are true and have to be true and have to be seen as being true and all the rest of that, despite the fact they're talking complete bullshit. And the things that they say comes straight from the Bible, also can be completely contradicted by other passages of the Bible. So, and indeed things that, JC himself said, or Moses might have said or done, or I don't know, that cup of tea that Elijah had on a certain Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and a conversation he had with a postman that night when he was cuddling up to the dog, or I don't know what, just. Ugh. It's a clusterfuck of ideas. Okay, we have to accept the fact it's a clusterfuck of ideas, and the word Christian is often just used to essentially mean accepted by a certain group of mainstream religious people. It's it is basically a very interesting, very creative form of bullshit. The people who are quite so aggressive with their Christianity are undesirable, very much so. And they are unfortunately the ones who leave their verbal shit stains on their own faith and stop, freedom of thought or challenging of ideas and anyone getting any form of real intellectual progression, spiritual growth, growing up, maturity, reason, wisdom, or anything else. So yeah, these are people who need to be challenged and need to have the verbal crap kicked out of them because they're a bunch of wankers. I'm with you, that's yeah, I'm basically with you there in whatever way, But on the other hand, if there is something which is good there, then that should be encouraged. If there's some attitudes there which are positive, you can take from them. Yeah, you can do the same with the I Ching. You can do the same with possibly, LaVey's Satanic Bible or something along those lines, or anything. Okay, but whatever it is, if you've got something inside you which means that you're going to filter out that which is unpleasant and you're going to start to focus your mind on things which are good, then essentially that means that you're, a good quality of individual. I mean, there's stuff in the New Testament that I object to. There's words which are written there by Paul, which makes me think, there's no fucking way this is the word of God. You know what I mean? It's just like him, just like talking complete, interspersed with all this stuff about caring, sharing, and all the rest of that. It's like women should shut the fuck up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether they had like plenty of magic mushroom in the first, second, or third century. I don't know, but something tells me that people like Paul just weren't necessarily thinking too clearly, or maybe he had too much access to like the sacred wine at the time. Got a scribe to do all of the writing, and he could just like sit there caning all this stuff and go on about caring and sharing whilst the scribe does all the writing, and he just sat there and got canned on like plenty of kosher wine. Maybe that's the way it was. I mean, who knows? It's interesting, it's curious to speculate about, but no, there is no authentic Christianity. I don't think there ever was, and if Christ ever does come back, Jesus comes back and he has a look around at Christianity, he'll probably go, oh, for fuck's sake, what have you done, you bunch of fucking wankers? Oh, God. Because, there's a lot of stupidity around. I mean, there's Christian spiritualists, there's Christian deists, there's Christian sun worshippers, probably somewhere. I don't know. Maybe they aren't. I don't know. There are, people who've just taken the word Christian and shoved it in front of nearly anything. And hey presto, then hey, you've got a Christian thing. Maybe there's a Christian Satanist group somewhere, or well, there's definitely Christian atheists. There's a definite out there on. Go Google it, okay? Google. I'm not gonna give you the link. You can fucking find it yourself. You know what I mean? But it's out there. There's and there's Christianity is used and abused in certain political groups in a very unpleasant and undesirable manner as well, and oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I mean, it's like saying we are right because we are Christian, despite the fact that we're going to hate on people who are different from us, racially or sexually, or in terms of their language, or in terms of, I don't know, the way that they dress, or, but we're the ones who are right, yeah, and we'll choose something from Deuteronomy which sounds really, really scary because that's what we can do because we allow ourselves to fucking do it, I mean, How can, how can these people actually justify their claim? Well, they're going to find a way of justifying their claim, but they'll only justify it basically with more bullshit. Rather than just trying to work out what they're trying to do. I mean, the way that I personally see Christianity is that I'm approaching it from the point of view of it's all a myth. I mean, the whole bloody thing is a complete myth, all right? But on the other hand, there's useful, pleasant stuff in there which can be used to help you with coping skills, that can give you clarity of thought, give you tranquility, and, maybe there is a God, maybe there isn't, but on the other hand, there's certain strange experiences which are of a spiritual nature, which basically give you a feeling of the presence of God under some strange circumstances, which is basically all this, like, consciousness interaction type weird stuff, maybe. I mean, it's a certain strange state of mind. You just got to get there to understand what I'm talking about, and it's groovy, yeah. So I'm cherry picking. Yeah, okay, I'm cherry picking. Okay, what the hell? So what? Who cares? All right, it's my cherry picking. I like my cherries. My cherries are nice. My cherries are really juicy and very good for me. Okay, and I'll disregard the bits which I don't like, which might still be cherries, but there will be cherries which I don't agree with. Like all this stuff about, women should shut the fuck up in church. I mean, what the fuck? What the fuck? And then there's like women who are say they're Bible believers, and yet, hey presto, they'll stand up there in the pulpit and they will go and talk. I mean, I don't know. And then there's men who say, no, they shouldn't talk at all, not in the home either. And like, no, you haven't quite got it right. Can you please just get a fucking balanced perspective about all this shit? Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. I mean, come on. I mean, humans. I mean, that's the problem, really, isn't it? All completely bloody mental, basically.